Hello everyone. Yesterday we had discussed about some part of human digestive system, or we can say we have started the human digestive system. In that class we have studied about how we are taking the food in our mouth, what is the role of teeth, tongue in the process of digestion, and the next thing which we have studied, that is the term mastication. Yes students, let's recall the definition of mastication: the breaking down of food physically into small particles is known as mastication. The another name of mastication is chewing of food. Clear everyone? Now students, I want to instruct you one more thing, that is, if you people are writing the answer in your words, if you are converting my words in your own words, then it is good for you. No need to go or cram only my answers. You can write them in your own language. I will not going to be deduct your marks during the exams. Just try to write all the answers in your own language. Now students, let's come to the point, that is, yes, after mastication we have studied about the salivary glands. The glands which are present in our mouth and are secreting the saliva. Whenever we are getting the food of our own choice, our mouth starts watering. That is saliva. And yes, this saliva plays a very important role, as when it get mixed with the food, whatever we are eating, it converts our food in the bolus. See, when food is entered in our mouth, only before entering we can call it as food. After that, when we are chewing it, when our teeth are breaking it, working on it, then that food is known as bolus, because food get mixed with saliva and now food is no more food. Are you able to eat the food which you have eat now? Okay. Now, if you are eating some food and for any of the reason you are throwing out from your mouth, are you able to eat that food which you have thrown again? No, because it is not possible, because that is not food right now. It is a bolus. Now students, next thing, what is the role? Yes, now next thing which we have studied, that is epiglottis. Yes, epiglottis, it block the pathway. It blocks the pathway of windpipe to enter the food into it, isn't it? Now students, let's begin with the next topic, that is peristalsis. Yes students, peristalsis. See, this is our esophagus. Esophagus, we can also call it as food pipe. Esophagus. O is silent in the spelling of esophagus. OESOPHAGUS. Esophagus. See, in the diagram, this is esophagus, this pipe. See, this is esophagus. Clear? Now, let me tell you some interesting things about esophagus. See, esophagus is not playing any role in the digestion. No, not even a single type of digestion of food takes place in the esophagus. Then what is the role of it? See, esophagus establishing a connection between mouth and the stomach. It is just a road. Now this road is very thin, very thin, very narrow. That's why it is very difficult to swallow the food without chewing. See students, if we are eating fast, then what will happen? Our esophagus is showing some blockage and we have to clear that blockage by drinking a lot of water. Have you ever observed it? While you are having a food very fast, while you are chewing, without properly chewing, or eating very fast, then what will happen? A lot of food will get deposited and it is not transferred properly to our stomach. At that time we have to shift the food, we have to push the food down towards the stomach with the help of water, isn't it? Now students, here I am going to tell you the use of bolus. See, when we are chewing the food properly, then what will happen? Our food will become soft, it will get breaked into small particles. Then it is easy to shift, it is easy to push that food through this narrow pipe, or we can say narrow road, or we can say food pipe or esophagus, through esophagus. So this is the another function of saliva and bolus, to push the food in the esophagus easily. Now what will happen? I am going to explain you the term peristalsis. As I told you that that this esophagus, this food pipe is very narrow. Then what will happen? See, when food entered into it, the place where food is situated and the movement, the wall of esophagus will become expand, and when food will get shifted downwards, then this wall will become narrow again and it will expand from this area, and then again this area will become narrow and food will shift towards this area, and these walls will become expanded. These are the two sides of the esophagus. Now students, this is the term which is known for this process of esophagus. The process which is followed by esophagus is known as peristalsis. Let me give you the words which we have written yesterday only, and I had told you that I will explain it to you tomorrow. This is the explanation of peristalsis. The expansion and the contraction. See, the expansion and the contraction when food will get shifted downwards. The expansion and the contraction in the walls of esophagus is known as peristalsis. Clear everyone? I think it is clear to you all. See, the contraction and expansion in the walls of esophagus is known as peristalsis. Now, just go through it. See students, this is the diagram. Here the food, or we can say buccal cavity. Now this mouth is connected with the stomach through this esophagus. Now, after following the process of peristalsis, the food is entered in this stomach. See, this is the stomach. It is resembling a J-shaped structure. See, our stomach is a J-shaped structure, J-shaped muscular structure. Why we are calling it muscular? Because see, when we are respiring, our stomach is coming out and inwards. While we are exercising or we are walking or we are talking, our stomach is going in or coming out. It means some muscles are working on it. That's why we are calling it as a muscular structure. Clear everyone? Now, the food is entered in our stomach. See? Ho gaya enter? Now, as I told you, that digestive system is having only two parts, that is digestive glands and alimentary canal, or we can say digestive tract. See, our digestive alimentary canal starts from here and ends here. In the meantime, in the center, in the middle part, the alimentary canal become wider and making the stomach. It is also a part of alimentary canal only. Okay, stomach is a expanded part of alimentary canal only. Okay students, and these are the glands which are lying or attached with the alimentary canal. Later on we will study about them. Now students, when food will enter in the stomach, what will happen? See, just like our mouth, stomach is also having some points, some openings or some pores or some glands from where some juices are secreting out, or we can say some enzymes are releasing out. One enzyme which is releasing in our stomach, that is pepsin. Yes, pepsin is another enzyme, as you have studied about amylase, which is releasing in the mouth, and now about pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme which helps in the digestion of proteins. P for pepsin and P for protein. Clear? Now the question which you have to remember, that which enzymes helps in the digestion of protein? Yes, pepsin is the enzyme. Now students, what will happen? See, it is releasing. One more thing which is coming out from these glands in the stomach is dilute hydrochloric acid. Dilute hydrochloric acid. It is an acid. Oh, students are getting shocked. In our stomach, some acids are lying. Acids are very dangerous. They are not good for us. But still, it is present in our mouth. See, students, let me clarify the things to you. Dilute hydrochloric acid means very dilute, very light acid. It affects the stomach. No, it is not affecting our stomach. Although it is releasing out from the glands of the stomach to kill the bacteria or microorganisms which are entering with the food. Whatever we are eating, along with that, a number of bacteria are entered in our body. So that bacteria are killed by the hydrochloric acid which is releasing out in our stomach. So what is there? Hydrochloric acid, some enzymes. The name of that enzyme is pepsin. Yes. Along with that, some gastric juices. See, the mixture of hydrochloric acid and the enzymes which is coming out from the glands of the stomach are combinedly called as gastric juices. Clear, everyone? Why we are calling them as gastric juices? Because this mixture is releasing from the gastric glands. The glands which are present in the stomach are known as gastric glands, and whatever the reaction takes place between the food and the these juices is promoting some gases, the development of some gases. That's why they are called as gastric juices. Now students, have you ever suffered from acidity? Have you ever suffered from acidity? At your home, ask to your elders that have they suffered from acidity ever? Yes, definitely they may be sometimes. Why? See students, our stomach contains a lot of dilute hydrochloric acid which is releasing time to time when we are eating the food to help in the digestion. But when we are not drinking the water, the level of hydrochloric acid will get increased in the stomach, which promotes, or we can say which enhance the acidity in our stomach. And when we are drinking a lot of water along with eating the food, then we can prevent our body with this acidity, because acid want to dilute itself by water. I think you people are having some problem in dilute. See students, the concentration. If you are having a soap solution, okay, in some bottle, and you are adding water to it, then what will happen? Little water to it. It works as a soap. But if you are dropping the soap solution in a bucket full of water, then what will happen? That water, the value of that soap solution will get vanished. Now that water, are you able to wash your hands with that water? If you are taking a pinch of that water, are you able to wash? No. because now the properties of solution will get mixed in that bucket of water, and now it is difficult for you to use it with for that purpose which the soap solution is meant for. But if someone says to you to drink that water, is it possible for you? No, because now that water is also, the composition of water is also spoiled, because still the bucket contains soap. It means the water is not clean to use it for any of the purpose. Now students, let me clarify the meaning of the word dilute. See students, if we are adding a lot of water in that soap solution, then the soap solution will become dilute. And if we are adding the little water, then it is behaving like the soap solution only. Okay students, this is the meaning of dilution. And when we are adding a lot of water in our body, we are drinking a lot of water, then what will happen? The acid which is present in our body, in the stomach, will become dilute. The properties of that acid will become vanish. Okay students? Now see these points. Stomach is a J-shaped muscular structure. Alimentary canal become wider at this place. I think this point is clear. Yes, one more thing which I have to explain you, that is, see, when food entered in the mouth and get mixed with saliva, then that food is known as bolus. The name of the food, the properties of the food will change. And now when that bolus will enter in our stomach and get mixed with gastric juices, you can now understand. Gastric juices means the enzyme pepsin and the hydrochloric acid which is releasing out from the glands of the stomach. This is gastric juices. Now bolus plus gastric juices is called as chyme. Chyme. Repeat this word, chyme. Now students, see, the name of the food is changing 2 times. One time the food will become bolus, and the second time the bolus will become chyme. Clear everyone? Now wait for the moment and keep your food in your stomach only. Tomorrow we will digest this food. Okay? Later. Now let's begin with your class work. Start writing short question number 2. How will you show that saliva acts on starch? Write down this question in your notebook as your class work. How will you show that saliva acts on starch? See, saliva, let me explain you few things. Saliva contains enzyme amylase enzyme which helps in the digestion of starch. We have discussed about it earlier. Now what will happen if it acts on the starch? See student, how will we show it that it helps in the digestion of starch? See, write down this answer first. Later on I will explain it to you. Take 2 test tubes. Take boiled rice in 1 test tube. Yes, take 2 test tube. Take boiled rice in 1 test tube. You all know boiled rice contains starch. Yes. In second test tube, take boiled rice which were chewed for 3 to 5 minutes. First of all, chew them in your mouth and then spit them in the second test tube. Okay? Then add some water in both the test tubes. Now, one test tube contains the boiled rice normal and the second test tube contains the chewed rice. Boiled rice, chewed them and spit into the second test tube. Now add some water in both the test tubes. Then add 2 to 3 drops of iodine solution into it. You all know that iodine solution is used to test the presence of starch. Now, first test tube show blue-black color. See, in first test tube boiled rice was there. Boiled rice contains starch. That's why this test tube is showing blue black color, whereas second test tube does not show the color. In second test tube, saliva present in mouth break starch into sugar. See, second test tube, you people have chewed the rice and then after that you have spit them in the test tube. Then what will happen? Digestion takes place. Enzyme amylase digest that starch which is present in the rice. That's why it is not showing the presence of what? Starch, because now chewed rice does not contain starch. See, that's why no blue black color is there. But in first test tube, rice has not been exposed to saliva, so starch is present, which is indicated by blue black color. See this answer and note it down. I think it is clear to you all. Now students, today no homework is there and you have to recall whatever we have studied today. You have to write this answer in your notebook. See students, if you people are having 2 notebooks, then maintain set A and set B as chapter number 1 in set A and chapter number 2 in set B. But if you are not having 2 notebooks, then you have to do both the chapters in one set only. Okay students? Thank you everyone.